You scratch an itch behind your ear. You wash your hands with scented soap. You brush your teeth with mint-flavored paste. You take these quiet moments for granted. For roughly 300,000 years, your ancestors dealt with the exact same biology. But they had to get creative. How did early humans handle the buildup of the physical world on their bodies? For 99% of human history, hygiene wasn't about looking perfect in a mirror. It was a high-stakes chess game against infections, parasites, and predators. Modern statistics show that the average person spends over 2 years of their life in the bathroom. Your ancestors didn't have bathrooms. They had the open savanna, dark limestone caves, and whatever nature left on the ground. Did they just smell terrible all the time? The short answer is no. But their solutions would terrify a modern dermatologist. Let us reconstruct a typical day in the deep past to see how your body stayed clean. You wake up inside a shelter at the Blombos cave site in South Africa. The air is thick with the scent of wood smoke and old animal fat. Your mouth tastes like dry earth. Without a plastic toothbrush or fluoride, how do you prevent your teeth from rotting out of your skull? You don't ignore it. Archaeological evidence from Neanderthal teeth at the El Cedrón cave in Spain reveals deep, horizontal grooves. These tracks weren't caused by disease. They were carved by regular, intentional cleaning. Your ancestors used makeshift toothpicks made of stiff grass stalks and small mammal bones. More surprisingly, they practiced a primitive form of herbal medicine. Anthropologist Karen Hardy discovered that Neanderthals chewed on bitter bits of poplar wood and chamomile. Poplar contains salicylic acid, the active ingredient in modern aspirin. Chamomile acts as a natural anti-inflammatory. They weren't just scraping food away. They were actively medicating their gums. Does your current toothpaste treat pain while it cleans? But clean teeth are only the beginning of your morning routine. Your skin is covered in a mixture of sweat, soot from the nightly campfire, and dried blood from yesterday's butchered kill. If you leave this mixture on your skin, it will attract biting flies and flesh-eating parasites. You need a shield. You reach into a small leather pouch and pull out a handful of red ochre powder. Ochre is a naturally occurring iron oxide earth pigment. At sites like Pinnacle Point, researcher Curtis Marine found evidence of humans processing ochre over 160,000 years ago. You mix this red powder with rendered animal fat or wildflower juices. You smear the thick, greasy paste across your face, your torso, and your limbs. You now look like you are covered in bright red paint. To a modern observer, this looks like ritual decoration. To your biology, it is a brilliant multi-tool. The ochre paste dries into a physical barrier that blocks intense UV radiation from the sun. The iron oxide acts as a natural insect repellent, keeping mosquitoes at bay. Furthermore, fat-saturated ochre prevents your skin from cracking and drying out in the harsh wind. It was the world's first sunscreen, moisturizer, and bug spray combined into one red sludge. It smelled heavily of iron and animal fat, but it kept your skin intact. What about the more delicate aspects of prehistoric life? You need to relieve yourself. There is no plumbing, no toilet paper, and no privacy. You walk a safe distance away from the main camp circle. You cannot leave waste near the living area because the scent will draw apex predators like cave hyenas directly to your children. When you finish, you look at the ground. Depending on your environment, your options are limited. In coastal areas, you use smooth, flat seashells. In northern forests, you gather soft green moss or large, broad leaves. In arid regions, you use smooth river stones or a handful of dry sand. Each method carries risks. A sharp edge on a shell or a parasitic worm hiding in wet moss could introduce a lethal infection to your body. As the sun climbs higher, a different problem emerges. Head lice and body parasites are a constant nightmare. Without chemical shampoos, how do you stop your scalp from itching until it bleeds? Anthropologist Robin Dunbar famously argued that social grooming was the glue that held early human groups together. You sit cross-legged on the dirt. A trusted member of your tribe sits behind you, searching for tiny moving shadows. When they find a louse, they crack it between their fingernails or pop it between their teeth. This isn't viewed as disgusting. It is an act of deep trust and bonding. It releases endorphins in your brain, lowering your cortisol levels. When humans lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers, they moved constantly. They left their waste and their parasites behind them every few weeks. Nature washed the old campsites clean. But when we settled down into permanent farming villages around 10,000 years ago, we stepped into a trap. We built mud brick houses right next to our own garbage piles and animal pens. Skeletal remains from early agricultural sites show a massive spike in infectious diseases, dental cavities, and parasitic loads. By trying to become civilized, we created the perfect breeding ground for plagues. The hunter-gatherers, with their animal fat skin paint and bone toothpicks, were actually far healthier than the first city builders. Look at your hands again. We live in an ultra-sanitized world where we scrub away every microbe with alcohol wipes. Yet our immune systems are often confused, leading to unprecedented rates of allergies and autoimmune disorders. Your ancestors lived in the dirt, but they fought fiercely to balance their biology with their environment. They chewed bitter wood for their gums, smeared iron on their skin, and picked bugs from each other's hair to survive. They did what was necessary to keep the human story moving forward. Tomorrow morning, when you stand in front of your clean glass mirror and turn on the running water, look at your reflection. You are the product of thousands of generations who survived by being beautifully, brutally creative with the mud beneath their feet. No alarm, no schedule, just the same ancient body looking back at you.